Welcome to the training on recycling in Camden City School District for teachers. At the end of this video, you're going to be able to fill out a quiz and be eligible for a teacher mini grant, and I'm really excited to make that offering to you. But in the meantime, let's dive right into the training so you know what is expected of each and every teacher and adult on campus. These are the topics that we'll be discussing today. I want to make sure that as you go through this training, you know exactly what is and what is not recyclable, what's going on in terms of the county DEP inspections of Camden City School District. And we're also going to touch on this a little bit at the end, but we're going to talk about aligning recycling to your existing Camden City School District math and literacy curriculum. So let's get right to it. Just for a second, I'd like to introduce you to my organization, the Go Green Initiative. I founded it back in 2002 as a way of helping schools become more environmentally responsible. And that was really for two reasons. First of all, because schools create a lot of waste, whether we're talking about garbage, whether we're talking about energy, water, schools use a lot of resources. And if schools can do a good job of conserving those resources, then everything that is saved, everything we don't use or throw away, is something that future generations can use. So that was part of it. And the other thing that I found when I founded the Go Green Initiative is that a lot of schools had either poor indoor air quality, or they were using chemicals like certain pesticides that triggered health problems in the children that were served by that school. And so we've been helping schools since 2002 lighten their environmental footprint, but also protect children's health through environmental stewardship and help remove some of those environmental pollutants that children are so sensitive to. Since 2002, our organization has grown. We work in over 3,200 registered schools, preschool through university, and we're operating in all 50 U.S. states and in 73 countries around the world. You can check out more if you want to see our website. We've got some cool resources, and they're all free, and that's www.gogreeninitiative.org. Check us out. This is a note from your superintendent. I won't read it. You can read it as I'm speaking, but he knows that recycling is now something that's being required by the county. We'll talk about that in a moment. But he looks at this as a teachable moment, not just for the students, but for every person, adults included, who are involved in the Camden City School District. And so one of the things that he's done a great job of is empowering the folks who work at the central office of CCSD to create the role model situation. And if you visit the central office, you'll see that they have recycling bins everywhere. And if you open them up and look inside, you'll see that they are actually being used properly. The people at the central office have educated themselves on what is recyclable in your community, and they're doing a great job. And they hope that that example that they've been setting will filter down to every school site in the school district. So let's talk for a moment about why there's so much attention on recycling in the Camden City School District right now. Well, first of all, the county is mandated by the state to enforce recycling in all institutions. And for a long time, the school district kind of got a pass. But now, within the past year, the county DEP, or Department of Environmental Protection, has let the school district know that they have to enforce this law. And so they are planning to do inspections. Many of the schools in the Camden City School District have already been inspected. And if the schools don't pass, they are subject to a fine of $3,000 per day per school for being out of compliance. So there's a financial situation that the school district is dealing with, and that's why recycling has become such a hot topic. But before we move on, I want to make sure I underscore that there are a couple of other benefits besides just saving the schools the money that they'll be fined if you're out of compliance. First of all, the student benefit to recycling is tremendous. Wherever your students end up, whether they stay in Camden or they go somewhere else for college or for work, 21st century best practices when it comes to environmental stewardship includes recycling. So wherever your kids end up, whatever vocation they choose, they are going to be expected not only to know what is recyclable, but to actually recycle. And that's becoming more and more mainstream. So by teaching them now to do it right, you are helping them in the future when they go out into the real world. There's also a community benefit. Every recyclable piece of material that you keep out of the landfill helps to reduce the cost of waste disposal. Also, recycling is a big part of a program that you may have heard of called Sustainable Jersey for Schools. You can Google that, Sustainable Jersey for Schools. And if your school is recycling and teaching everyone on campus to recycle, you can earn a significant amount of points towards this grant program. And as it turns out, because of action that was taken by the Camden City School District School Board, every school in the school district is eligible for grants under the Sustainable Jersey program. So if you all do a great job of recycling at your school, you're already almost halfway to the number of points you need in order to gain recognition under the Sustainable Jersey program. So why is the state of New Jersey, and hence the county of Camden, so intense about recycling? Well, it goes back to a little bit of history. You used to have 187 commercial landfills within the state of New Jersey. But they started to get full and they started to close starting in 1960. And now you're down to just 13 landfills that remain in your state. And once those landfills begin to close, once they become landfills, then your state will be in a situation where they have limited and potentially more expensive options for what to do with your waste. And that's why it's so important that you keep everything that you can out of the landfills, i.e. recyclables, and that will ensure that the lifespan of those landfills is as long as they can be, and only garbage that can't be recycled goes into the landfills. So that's a little bit of background, and you can explain that to your students. So when the county comes to inspect your school, if they haven't already, these are the 4 areas that they will be inspecting. First of all, they'll be looking in every classroom. They want to see a trash container next to a recycling container, and they want there to be signage that indicates to the kids what goes in each bin. They're also going to be looking in the teacher's lounge, and if there's no recycling happening in the teacher's lounge, that is grounds for a failure, or at least a citation. They want to know that the adults on campus are recycling, because if adults are doing it even away from the kids, like in the teacher's lounge or in the staff offices, then there's a better chance that those same adults are going to be great role models for the kids and teach them how to recycle. So they will inspect recycling in the teacher's lounge and in the staff offices. And then finally, they're going to go into the cafeteria. And that inspection area is broken into 2 parts. The front end, where the students will deal with the waste that is generated during lunch. And then they're going to inspect the back end, where Aramark and your food service folks are expected to recycle cardboard and steel cans and some other materials that they have been trained to recycle. So here is a graphic that comes directly from Recommunity, and that's the company that takes all of the recyclable material that you will be recycling in the Camden City School District. And they indicate to you on this graphic, which you can download at the website that you see there, or the URL that you see there, tinyurl.com/Camden Recycle. If you want to post this in your classroom or print it out as a way of training the students on what is recyclable, that's where you can find it. But let's take a look at this really quickly, because this is important. For plastics, you'll note that it's not everything that's made out of plastic that is recyclable. Look at this. It's number 1, 2, 4, 5, and 7. These are food and beverage containers. And the way that you'll know if your container fits this description is if you turn it over, there will be an arrow, kind of a 3-arrow triangle, and in the middle of that triangle will be a number. And if that number is a 1, 2, 4, 5, or 7, it's recyclable. Look at the paper here. You're going to see newspaper, magazines, cardboard, paper towel rolls, not paper towels, because those are wet and they don't want wet things in there. Cartons, and this is something that if kids are drinking milk or juice cartons, they can be recycled, but they do need to be emptied. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when I go through the cafeteria recycling procedures. Aluminum cans and foil are fine. Glass jars and bottles are also fine. But the one thing that's not okay is contamination. If you have a yogurt cup that is a 1, 2, 4, 5, or 7, but it still has yogurt in it, it's considered garbage because the plastic can't be contaminated. That's one of the things that's tough to deal with. And sometimes you'll have some recyclable materials, but if there's no way to clean it, no way to empty out, say, the yogurt or whatever might be in it, then you have to put it in the trash, because contamination is something that ReCommunity is not equipped to deal with. Their equipment will get jammed up and will get broken if they take recyclable material that is soiled with food or is wet. Now they can take cartons that are wet as long as they're emptied, but we'll talk a little bit more about this contamination issue when we get into the cafeteria portion. These are things that just simply cannot go into the recycling bins. No food whatsoever. Organic garbage, that's going to be like yard waste, grass clippings, that sort of thing. Anything that used to be alive is considered organic. Plastic bags cannot go into the recycling. Plastic tubs, if they have food in them, cannot go in. If they don't have food in them and they're one of the numbers that we saw on the previous slide, they can go in. Styrofoam cannot go in the recycling. So these are things that you have to remember and teach the kids cannot go into the recycling bins. And when the county inspectors come in, they'll be looking for this. Additionally, even after the county inspectors are done inspecting schools, let's say you pass and they're gone, if ReCommunity, which is the company that takes your recycling material, starts to see a lot of this material in your recycling, they can actually reject it, and then the school district will have to come back, pick it up, and take it elsewhere. So even after we pass the inspections, we want to make sure that we are not sending these materials to the ReCommunity facility that takes your recyclables. So let's talk about cafeteria recycling. Your custodians have, they've put in a system that looks much like this in your cafeteria. They have put in a station where the kids will take their plastic trays or their styrofoam trays, tap out all the food and all the plastic wraps for straws and things like that, and put it in a black linered container. Black means landfill. If they have a carton, a juice carton or beverage container, they'll be emptying the liquids into a bucket that looks like this. Many of them now have strainers on them. We were able to get a grant to purchase strainers so that if the kids still have straws or other pieces of material that shouldn't go down the kitchen sink, they're strained out. Once the cartons are emptied, they're put into the recycling bin. Other things that are recyclable can go in that bin. And then this container is for stacked trays. The stacking helps to eliminate a lot of garbage liner bags. And actually there's been some studies that show that school districts can save quite a bit of money on these plastic bags by reducing the number that they use just simply by stacking the trays. So that's how that works. If you want some more information, if you happen to be a teacher that is part of the monitoring that goes on in cafeterias and you want more ideas for reducing waste in your cafeteria, this is a great website, cafeteriawastereduction.com, and they have some great ideas that are just for schools. One of the things that's really important to remember, though, is to help kids understand that they cannot contaminate what goes into the recycling. So if there's still food left in any of the containers, if there's still liquid left, that needs to go in the trash. So that cannot be underscored enough. If you're interested in integrating recycling into the Camden City School District math and literacy curriculum, I've created a few examples. You can go to these URLs and check them out. tinyurl.com/Camden Math, same thing, Camden Literacy. I took some of the lessons, one lesson from each grade level, K through 5, and replaced some of the language that in the existing curriculum with language that would integrate ideas about recycling into the curriculum. So you can check those out to get some ideas. If this is something that you're interested in getting more help with, you can reach out to my organization. and we can help you with that. That's something that the Go Green Initiative is very intent on. We don't want to create new curriculum and take up more instructional minutes for teachers who are already very busy. We want to try and integrate environmental education, whether that's recycling, energy conservation, what have you, into existing curriculum. Now, these are just a few strategies you might employ in order to motivate your students to recycle. One of the biggest things is just having the right setup. Having the recycling bin next to the trash can is really key. In some classrooms, we've seen teachers take the recycling bin, put it under their desk, and use it as their personal trash can. Well, that is not going to help the students, not going to help you recycle. We need to keep those recycling bins right next to the trash can so it's easy for students to access and that everybody has a chance to do it right. And there's no extra effort involved in reaching the recycling bin. Even adults suffer from this same situation. If it's hard to recycle, if they have to take extra steps to get to a recycling bin or the trash bin, study after study shows everything just goes into the trash. One of the things that's so important is role modeling recycling, so the kids get to see that it's important to you. You can even talk about why recycling is a big deal, why you do it in the classroom. You are one of their most important role models, and so if they get to see you doing this activity, then they know it's important. When students do it right, take a moment to say thanks and recognize students who are doing a great job of recycling. A little pat on the back goes a long way. And if you see students fail to do it right, ask them to try again. Ask them if they have any questions about what is recyclable and what is not. This trial and error process could take a little bit of time to make sure everybody's got it down pat, and this is the way that we learn everything. We do the same thing with math problems. We allow kids to try again and show them where they made mistakes and continue to practice. We're going to talk about some of the rewards that you can offer on the next slide, but maybe you can even consider offering some extra privileges and leadership opportunities for students who are doing a great job of recycling. If there's an opportunity to spend 5 more minutes on the playground or 5 more minutes on an activity that they enjoy in the classroom and they're doing a great job in recycling, maybe you could give them that extra privilege. So this is the slide that talks about some of the incentives that are available. Thanks to these corporate sponsors, we have a few $1,000s to give away in teacher mini grants. We actually have $5,000 to give away in teacher mini grants, and that's what you'll be eligible for today after you take a little quiz based on this video. There are field trips available to the Covanta Waste to Energy plant. They're one of the corporate sponsors. They have a plant right in Camden, and they can take your kids there to show them how garbage, with no recycling in it, we want to emphasize that they don't want to deal with recyclables if they can keep from it. But this is how garbage gets turned into renewable energy. Both Covanta and the Campbell's folks have decided that they wanted to be part of this in such a way that they would offer up guest speakers. So if you would like to bring a sustainability expert, it doesn't have to be in recycling. It can be on any environmental topic. If you want to bring them in as guest speakers to your classroom or for a school assembly, or if you want to schedule a video chat with them, maybe you want to talk to a subject matter expert who's not in the Camden area, I can help you set that up, and the kids can have a Q&A session with these sustainability experts. So here's how you can access your mini grant, and also how you can contact me if you want to set up a field trip or video chats. You can email the Go Green Initiative at info@gogreeninitiative.org. After you complete this video, you can complete a quick quiz and some questions after the video. I will receive notice of your successful completion of the quiz, and we'll send your teacher mini grant to your school. If you have any questions, you can call the Go Green Initiative office at 925-289-0145, or you can send us an email. I really want to thank you for doing a great job of separating your recycling from the trash. You are great role models for the students, and this is going to serve not just your school district, but these students so well as they move into the future and become environmental leaders of the 21st century. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope you enjoy using your mini grant for whatever it is you'd like to do to advance environmental education in your classroom. Have a great day.